The claim is that Elvis Presley's casket was opened 48 years after his death, a handwritten note found inside, and witnesses pressured into signing NDAs. No public evidence confirms any of it, but there's a reason this story persists. Elvis's full autopsy has never been released, sealed by a Tennessee court as a private family document. The documented record of what actually happened begins on one afternoon in Memphis. On August 16, 1977, 42-year-old Elvis Presley was at his Memphis estate, Graceland, preparing for a new concert tour. He was scheduled to fly out that evening to Portland, Maine, for the opening performance. Those inside the mansion reported that he was in good spirits during the early morning hours, actively discussing travel plans. But the tour never began. In the early afternoon, his 21-year-old girlfriend, Ginger Alden, went to check on him after he failed to respond to a knock on his bedroom door. She found him lying unresponsive on the floor of his master bathroom. Evaluating this timeline requires a strict separation of facts from folklore, using 3 distinct categories. The documented record consists of verified forensic files, court rulings, and official death certificates. The reported account covers eyewitness statements, memoirs, and personal recollections. The unverified claim encompasses the sensational rumors, viral videos, and claims that lack any primary evidence. The Memphis Fire Department responded to the call at Graceland, placing Elvis Presley on a stretcher for emergency transport. The ambulance sped to Baptist Memorial Hospital on Union Avenue, where an emergency medical team immediately attempted resuscitation. Despite their efforts, the measures failed. At approximately 3:30 p.m., attending physician Dr. George Nichopoulos formally pronounced Elvis dead. He was 42 years old. While the initial discovery occurred upstairs at his private estate, his official death was recorded at the hospital, establishing a clear separation between the place where he was found and the place of his legal pronouncement. With the declaration of death, his body was moved to the hospital morgue, transferring the focus from emergency life-saving efforts to the official medical record. At the center of Presley's medical history in his final years was Dr. George Nichopoulos, his personal physician. While sources conflict on the exact year their professional relationship began, surviving medical records, court dockets, and state medical board files paint a detailed picture of the treatment Presley received. These documents show that Nichopoulos prescribed thousands of doses of controlled substances, including sedatives, painkillers, and stimulants. In the medical community, the simultaneous use of multiple medications is known as polypharmacy. This term describes a treatment pattern rather than a specific clinical diagnosis, but contemporaneous reporting frequently linked this heavy regimen to Presley's visible physical decline on tour. By examining these prescribing records alongside official board investigations, researchers have established a clear timeline of his pharmaceutical intake, providing critical context to his failing health without predetermining how these substances ultimately interacted in his final hours. In January 1980, the Tennessee Board of Medical Examiners suspended Dr. George Nichopoulos' license for 3 months, placing him on probation for overprescribing. The following year, a jury acquitted him of criminal negligence charges related to Presley's treatment. While the criminal trial cleared him of direct legal responsibility for the death, his medical career remained under intense scrutiny. In 1995, the state board permanently revoked his license following investigations into his prescribing patterns for other patients. These legal milestones documented severe professional misconduct, though pathologists continued to debate whether this prescribing pattern directly caused the fatal cardiac event. Shelby County Medical Examiner Dr. Jerry Francisco officially attributed the death to cardiac arrhythmia and hypertensive cardiovascular disease, publicly asserting that drugs played no role. Yet, the private autopsy's toxicology report identified 10 prescription substances in Presley's system. Codeine was present at roughly 10 times the standard therapeutic level, alongside barbiturates, sedatives, and other central nervous system depressants. While Francisco maintained that these concentrations remained below lethal limits, Medical experts later argued that this specific combination of medications could have triggered the fatal cardiac event. A 1994 independent state review by pathologist Joseph Davis supported the natural cardiac cause, a finding Francisco reaffirmed in 2008, leaving the precise interaction of these chemicals a subject of ongoing debate. Vernon Presley's father, Elvis, privately commissioned the post-mortem examination at Baptist Memorial Hospital immediately following the pronouncement of death. Because the local district attorney did not suspect foul play, this was a private medical procedure, not a criminal autopsy ordered by a state prosecutor. This status means the resulting documents remained private property. It is essential to separate the official death certificate, a public vital record, from the detailed, multi-page autopsy report. While a brief medical summary was released to the press, the complete physical findings were handed directly to the Presley family, kept secure rather than destroyed. In 1982, journalists and broadcasters challenged this privacy in the case State Ex Relatione Cole versus Francisco. They petitioned the court to force the release of the post-mortem documents. The Tennessee Supreme Court ruled that because the autopsy was a privately commissioned family project, it remained a private medical record rather than a public document. This meant the medical examiner had no legal duty to release or even retain the files. Under Tennessee law, a 50-year confidentiality rule protects death certificates, meaning Elvis's certificate is projected to become public in 2027. But this statute does not apply to the private autopsy report. Even the state health department's reported 2026 review was a re-examination of existing records, not a public disclosure of the original family-held document. Following the August 18, 1977 funeral, Elvis Presley was buried at Forest Hill Cemetery. By October, his family relocated the remains to the meditation garden at Graceland, establishing tight security controls around the new site. During the public wake, a distant relative accepted an $18,000 payment from the National Enquirer to take a secret photograph. While this image, published in September 1977, remains a famous example of celebrity exposure, it only documents that specific moment in time. It cannot be used to establish whether any later disturbance of the burial vault occurred. In late 2025, a series of unverified social media posts and self-produced videos began asserting that Elvis Presley's casket was secretly opened in August 2025, exactly 48 years after his death. These online reports claim that an unnamed team of forensic specialists and security guards accessed the burial vault under strict secrecy, using terms like no press, no cameras, phones surrendered to describe the alleged event. Yet, independent news organizations did not report on this exhumation, and official forensic records do not exist to verify the claims. The earliest traceable post surfaced on Facebook in February 2026, creating an inconsistent timeline between the alleged summer event and its later online publication. While historians like Alana Nash have documented the complex mythology surrounding Presley's inner circle, no credible evidence supports this rumor. According to the story, a note was reportedly found inside the casket. There is no public evidence confirming that the note existed, identifying its author, or establishing a chain of custody. This claim of a handwritten message is joined by separate allegations that witnesses and forensic specialists were pressured to sign strict non-disclosure agreements. However, the source of these NDA claims remains confined to anonymous social media channels. Rather than a first-person statement from an actual participant, these accounts are merely second-hand retellings. No signed agreement, named witness, specific date, involved attorney, or court filing has ever been produced to verify that these legal constraints exist. To validate these dramatic reports, researchers must analyze the alleged note and the non-disclosure agreements themselves, rather than relying on repeated online narratives. Until physical documents emerge, both stories remain entirely unverified. We must subject these allegations to standard forensic protocol. A genuine opening of a burial vault requires a clear legal and paper trail, a public exhumation permit from the Shelby County Medical Examiner, a Tennessee court order, and explicit authorization from the Presley estate. None of these documents exist in the public record. Independent forensic pathologists note that a legitimate exhumation differs fundamentally from a simple casket inspection, requiring a documented chain of custody, detailed photographs, and official witness signatures. The viral reports offer no verifiable dates, locations, or names of the alleged specialists. Without official cemetery logs or certified records, the story remains entirely unverified. This missing paper trail limits independent verification. It marks the boundary where documented history ends and speculation begins. Today, the boundary between documented history and viral mythology continues to dissolve. Until public records replace private family secrets, the empty spaces in Elvis's story will always be filled by speculation. We are left chasing rumors simply because the verifiable truth remains locked away.